Hello, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to this special edition. I've been telling my story, and this is part 5, continuation of this. Our subconscious minds are just machines with just a single program. Keep the unit safe. That's really what I was fighting this whole time. That's the perspective. That is the grand, massive perspective that I've been looking for, that we're all looking for. This is what it looks like from the inside. Does it resonate with you? Does it sound familiar? Can you relate? I have a feeling that my story is not rare. I believe that my story is common. I believe that many more of us out there than we want to admit has multiple personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic abuse syndrome. I believe that the numbers provided by NIM and the CDC are inaccurate garbage. I can read people. I can see how they move. I spent a year just researching and studying the way people move. Thousands of people. I ran a D&D campaign where I sat there and analyzed the behavior of 4 different people plus my own, and had to predict and analyze in advance what each behavior and personality was going to do. And this is all while I was still studying perspective, still studying philosophy, writing books to break down the sociological occurrences of the Christian empire and how it was used as a guise for Rome re-infiltrating a society. I had seen the 5th perspective, and it landed me in the mental hospital in May of 2021. May 13 is something that I call Self-Appreciation Day. It's a project I'm working on. Fill out the form below if you want to know more. And I have never passed up a Self-Appreciation Day. Not ever. Not this year. Not ever. Self-Appreciation Day was a day I invented in 2015 to remind me, maybe it was 2016, to remind me that I am important. The original post is on my website. Every day, May 13, every year that day rolls around, I stop the world and I celebrate me and my love for me. I was in the hospital that day, and I realized that it was Self-Appreciation Day. No, I realized that Self-Appreciation Day was coming up. And I said, no, not today. No, not today. Today, I will not let this take me down, because it's Self-Appreciation Day. Today, I'm going to get my ass to New York City because it's Self-Appreciation Day. I was a broken mess after what I had heard and seen. Not saying thank fucking God, just heard. My fucking God. I put on a nice face. I threw myself back out there and I forced myself to be happy. I call that state the state of imagination, sunshine adventures. That's right, that's its name. Imagination Sunshine Adventures. It sounds like a 1980s color rainbow kid cartoon. Imagination Sunshine Adventures. And that's exactly what it was. That's me. I have literally my Imagination Sunshine Adventures. Join me for Anna's Elite and you can come on them. I'm dead serious. Form below, just write Imagination Sunshine Adventures. I want to know more. Because I do these things with people. I have events. And I want to do them with all the people. Imagination Sunshine Adventures is when I, on a whim, go, let's go to New York. And let's just see what happens. I remember this one time I was with the porn star I dated for a few years who talked like Batman. True story. And he went, no one comes to New York without a plan. No one. You don't just drive up, park your car in Times Square and decide to just wing it. You come here with a plan. And there I was, smiling, with my Sunshine Imagination Adventures. And he went, that's exactly what it is. I can't even say it, but he did it. I'm going to pull this off. He went, that's exactly what you did, wasn't it? Yes, it was. I had driven up to Times Square, parked my car and went, let's just wing this. And I did that every weekend. I slept in Central Park. There's a bench with my name on it. That is freedom. That is freedom. To be so liberated from fear that when you decide to make a choice, you think, what do I want? Right now, I have a proposition on the table. I have two propositions, not prepositions, on the table. Netflix has contacted me asking me for a script of my book, Zombies from Space and Vampires. And then I have a film producer who's also reached out saying, we want your book. Could we please get a script? We want to get a pitch deck together. So now I have a choice. Do I want my book that's really shitty, produced by Netflix or Hollywood? Oh, the choices. And that is freedom. That is freedom. I manifested that shit, by the way. I'm manifesting more, so I'm just waiting. But there's more coming. I'm manifesting this shit. Like I said, she's giving me everything right now except money. And when the universe speaks and says no, what they're really saying is you have a lesson to learn. And either you learn the lesson or you don't. So you don't get what you want to get from manifestation unless you learn something. That's why manifestation doesn't work. It's because you haven't learned the lesson. So my lesson is I have to tell you my story. So here I am. Part 5 on a Sunday telling you my story because She told me to. I left the mental hospital broken. I had come so far with my healing. And that traumatic event broke down all of my work and set me back. I suppressed it because I so desperately wanted to get back to imagination sunshine adventures. So I faked it. And I made a wish on my birthday during Mercury retrograde. I just realized when I made that exact wish. I literally wished it on my birthday calendar, or my birthday candle, on the 14th. Okay, oh yeah. During the Mercury retrograde. And I said, I want to fall in love with someone so deeply that he would break my heart and I would never be the same again. And 2 months later, I met someone. And he was literally everything I ever wanted. Every manifestation that I ever made. Every wish I made about what a partner would be like for me through my whole life. The universe had taken up every one of my wishes and put them into this man. So that when I recognized him, when I saw him, he was literally the accumulation of my dreams. That is what she has given me. And I said, that he would break my heart so that I would never be the same. But you know what else I can see? I can see all the other wishes that I made that have not come true yet. Which means I know what's coming because I made the wishes long ago. Imagine every wish you've ever made. Think about every wish you have ever made. The universe holds onto those wishes and they keep them for you. And once your atonement is over, you get them all back. So imagine that every wish you made as a child is just waiting for you. And the universe will come up to you and say, here, I've been holding on to these for you. Here they all are. So that when I say that I'm walking into abundance, I don't mean the stuff I purposely manifested recently. I am talking about the dreams and manifestations I have wanted all my life. And they're all just pouring in now. Except the money. What the fuck? Because I have something to learn. Because I need to tell my story. He loved me back just as equally and just as much. And like clockwork, mental illness creeps in at 3 months, right on schedule. So after 3 months, all the mental surfaced and everything fell apart. He expressed a fear, which made me afraid. So I expressed a fear, which made him afraid. So he expressed a fear, which made me afraid, and so I acted, which made him afraid, and he reacted, which made me afraid, so I reacted, which... And through all of that, we held on. And I said, something's going on. This is nuclear. I need to figure out this shit. Everything I had suppressed was coming out. My partner is a manifesting generator, 9th degree. Do you understand his power? I am a generator, 9th degree. Now, do you see human design in a different light? When I'm done with this, I will be teaching you how to manifest world peace. But you need to know this shit first. Every Sunday, this is what I will be doing right here. And like I said, link below if you want to get started and get involved. He laid himself down for me within the first few weeks that we started dating, and he said to me, heal yourself with my body. Heal yourself with my home. He is a 9th degree manifesting generator. I just had someone manifest the hell out of me, combined with my own manifestation. Yesterday I talked about sex, and I explained how when you manifest, you have this state of giving, and how when you tap into the state of giving and reciprocity, when you engage with sexuality, it becomes the mother lode of all manifestation skills. I will also be teaching you how to do this. Click the link below to find out more. So in hindsight, you had 2 generators, one of them a manifester, during intercourse, manifesting my healing. I told you, the universe is on my side. She and I are like, she's my girl. She's my girl. The universe is your intuition. There is no universe out there. It's her. Your intuition is not talking to the universe. She is the universe. When you talk to intuition, you are talking directly to the universe. This is a psychology that's very, very 2nd stage era, 2nd degree era. This goes back to the mindset of the community, that you do not have the authority to talk to the highest level up, that you are not good enough to approach God. So we put people and mediators in between God and you because you are not worthy enough to talk directly to God. So our psychology puts this block, thinking that, oh, well, I'm here, the ego is here, but the universe, the God, is over there. Intuition is just the force in between. No, honey, no. You don't need the mediator. You are worthy enough to talk directly to the God unit. Intuition is the universe. Your intuition is the universe. That is your ego talking directly to the universe and you reading the universe, yourself. She's not telling you. The communication is coming from inside of you. The feeling is coming from her, which is you. Ready? God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Past, present, future. Triadic healing. There it is. Triadic healing. Yes. Either you get it or you don't. Link below. He and I manifested my healing every time we had sex those first 3 months. That's what sex is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a manifestation tool for healing your partner through the act of giving. That is making love. Do you get it now? I will be showing you how to manifest with psychological manifestation. This is not the same thing. Link below. My healing required everything in the 4th level subconscious mind to get cleaned out, including me. My alters had to step out and say, we're here. I had to figure out a way to organize the chaos in my head very, very quickly. And I did. I immediately went to work assigning characters to each one of my alters. I learned that I had 4 alters, but not yet. From that first manifestation in July of 2021, that's right, we were in Cancer on his birthday when he manifested his fear. I see. He manifested my healing, and he manifested the fear. Within a year, within months, things were chaotic. We moved in, and it became my mental war, him taking the shrapnel and comforting me. and us loving the hell out of each other. And we would toggle those two realities, loving the fuck out of each other, to my mental war where he took shrapnel. By April of 2022, retrograde, imagination split, and she was born. But she didn't split. Now I know. I've been trying to figure this out for a while. She never split. She emerged. Identity came out. Son of a fucking bitch. Imagination is identity. She was not an alter. She was the real deal. She was the foundation identity. That's why she felt different. She didn't feel like an alter. I had to name and characterize everything. I had to break everything in my brain down to make sense of it. I had to organize the subconscious mind so I could study it. So I tapped into play and theater. I gave all of my people inside of my head a setting, compartments. I turned it into a theater show inside of my head so I could start analyzing it. This is what I came up with. The subconscious mind is literally Rick Sanchez. Jerry is over there running the fear system. Beth is the identity. Over in the fridge, you've got some random character from the Simpsons. That's your guilt system, and he has no business being in your fridge eating your food. You need to send him home. And we have Mr. Nimbus in the corner, playing the role of the narcissist. And then I had imagination. I had Angel. A child, an 8-year-old child who walked among us. I had Bergen, my pompous Lord Nord. You heard me. My defense system. And one of my alters. I had Kalan, my BDSM mistress. And I had Joanna, the host. And none of them knew about me, the core. They all came out. The first time I realized it, Colin had written a letter to my partner. She doesn't know. She has multiple personality disorder. We're here. She's holding us hostage. She won't let us out. She doesn't know we exist, but we're here. Every now and then we get out. But then she comes back. She doesn't know we're here. Tell her. That's the letter I wrote to my partner that Colin wrote. The next day, my partner showed it to me. And I started to connect the dots. The amnesia, not being able to remember anything before I was 8. My face blindness. My inability to remember people. My 4 copies of Star Trek's Time magazine edition because every one of my alters had to buy their own copy. Yeah. The many duplicated DVDs I have because every character had to buy their own damn copy. Me putting down my keys and never being able to remember where I put them because Berrigan put them down and Joanna was the one looking for them. The Irish accent that poured out of me every time I drank alcohol because alcohol was Berrigan's trigger. Berrigan is a man, a 6'2" man. That's inside of me. Oh yes. And he knows it. The sexuality was a nightmare. Imagination was everyone's shul. She was an energy lover. You had to have good energy to get with imagination. That's all it took. Berrigan loved his gay men. He loved little, petite, gorgeous bisexual men. Yep. Kalam did not like relationships, did not need them, was a BDSM mistress, and you would beg and serve her. And Joanna was a monogamous, stay-at-home wife who hated and did not like girls, nor did she tolerate them. And she only liked men. And she was straight and monogamous. But I am polyamorous and an energy reader. And I am nonconformist. So Joanna and I did not get along. Actually, she loved the fuck out of all of us. She loved us so much that she took all of our minds and crammed them down into the fourth level of the subconscious mind. I stutter. When you live in the subconscious mind for 32 years, you stutter when you come out. It's why I started my podcast, is to help me get over the stuttering. Every now and then, I still stutter. I was held prisoner by Joanna for 32 years. She loved me that much. She loved us so much that she literally laid the life down for her friends. She took all of the abuse for us. That is the power of your self-love. That's really what mental is, all of it. It is the testament of love that your subconscious mind has for you. It is self-love at its finest, where it says, I'm going to take everything that you are that is the most precious parts of you, and I am going to hide them from the world so they can't hurt you because I love you. Now that is self-love. Someone once asked me, did my alters hate her? Oh no. When they realized what she had done for them, they held her and thanked her very genuinely, every one of them. It was a beautiful day. I got to sit there and watch Joanna literally get hugged by every altar as they said thank you for taking the pain so I would stay sane. Now, imagination said, let's fix Joanna. That was the day my altars opened them up to Joanna and said, we are 4 perspectives now inside of this mind, and we have the ability and the knowledge of shifting perspectives. We can study the subconscious mind like no one else can. Before we cure this, before we integrate, let's learn it. So imagination led this massive thing inside of my brain where they literally stripped it apart. And this is what I learned. There are 5 levels of the subconscious mind. The first level is your conscious awareness, your thought. It is where all the internal conversation takes place, all that internal dialogue, where you're sitting here reading a book or you're reading the directions or something on a pill bottle. It's all of that noise. That internal noise is your first level of your subconscious mind. The second level of your subconscious mind is the mind maze. The mind maze is where all of your memories are kept. It's where all the stored memories are. It is this massive stainless steel, vast maze of just doors. And all the doors are opened or locked or accessible or remembered or forgotten, depending upon the severity of the abuse behind the door. Most recent memories are at the front and the doors are open. But as the memories are shelved, the doors are closed. Now you can go back through and you can open up all the doors and you can visit each and every emotion as you need. The memories that come and go in our mind without passing are the doors that are open. And the ones where we have to go in and enter is where we open a door. But the trauma rooms, those ones are locked. You're not getting to those until subconscious mind thinks that you are ready. You have to convince subconscious mind that you can open those doors. This is shadow work. This is how it's done. You tell subconscious mind, look, I need to get into that door, and subconscious mind will express fear to you. They will say, I don't think you can handle it. And that's the real truth. I don't think you can handle it. That is what we all, deep down, truly fear. That we can't handle it. That is the deep core of all fear. You can't handle it. That is the most toxic belief. Remove that one. See what happens. To remove a toxic belief, you have to use formal argument and debate. You have to literally give a logical argument to subconscious mind to convince subconscious mind why that is wrong. You have to prove the fallacy in the subconscious mind's logic. This is called dialectical behavioral therapy, or formal argument and debate. The toxic belief is you can't handle it. You can't survive it. Those are your fears. Now you have the correct emotional environment to create abuse, behavioral defenses, and invasive perspectives. And it all starts with the belief that you can't handle it, that you cannot form your own perspective. Moving on. The third perspective, the third level of the subconscious mind. The third level of the subconscious mind is where your identity lives. This is where Angel is. Well, I call her Angel. This is the third level of the subconscious mind. Your identity, your cognitive core are located here. Your defense system is here. Your fear system is located on the first, that's important, is located on the first level of your subconscious mind, taking up that internal first level space way too much. In rare cases, the fear system will come down into the third level and implant a fear into the cognitive core, turning that into a toxic belief. A limiting belief is a fear that has infected the cognitive core. When you have a fear infect the cognitive core, it develops a new perspective. But this perspective, this invasive perspective, contradicts identity and ethics and your beliefs. So where does it go? The subconscious mind creates a second perspective. This is an invasive perspective. And what ends up happening is you basically now have to choose between which behavior. The subconscious mind is now split. Does the subconscious mind follow perspective A, the authentic perspective that's linked to identity, or the invasive perspective? Depending upon the severity of your abuse, you will follow the invasive perspective. There is your misalignment. Now you have cognitive dissonance. Now you have emotional pain. To make sure all of this goes properly, identity needs to leave. So the subconscious mind takes identity and puts her in the fourth level of the subconscious mind. In pieces at first. All of her if need be. That is what happened to me. I finally understood everything that had happened to me. My partner and I separated ways September 2022. It was not a normal breakup. It was a very different breakup because it was a breakup between two ninth perspectives. So we did not understand because we're ninth perspective and we could not communicate what was going on. So we used the best words we could. We have spent the last year trying to articulate and define this breakup. But it all is happening outside of the system. So there are no words. Until now. So he and I have not been able to understand what we've been enduring for the last year. Until now. The words for me, it was desperation. I felt my ship going down fast. All of my mental illnesses were out at the same time, and I was analyzing each and every one of them like a mad woman. I was documenting things in my head, taking notes, pulling all of my research out. I had borderline personality disorder going off. I know exactly what happened now. My subconscious mind went into a full system meltdown where it activates all the mental disorders at the same time. It does this because it is so desperately trying to hold on to what you are ripping out of it that it literally is the granddaddy of all war battles between you and your subconscious mind. My subconscious mind threw every book at me. Amnesia. So I wrote it down. Memory, I would email myself. It became a massive face-off between my subconscious mind and myself. This is trauma healing. You are facing off with your subconscious mind. It's the ultimate BDSM dominance. It took all four of us to take it down. You can't handle it. Over and over. Over and over. I'd pull out Colin. I'd pull out Imagination. I'd pull out Berrigan. Which one of them's the best one for the job? Joanna realized that she was not the core, that she was equivalent to a clone, that she was made up. You want to talk about your identity crisis? She had to deal with the reality that she was not real. And then we had to learn that we all were real to some degree. And then we all had to learn that we were the same person. That we have it in us all along. That we just had to believe that we can handle it. By the way, Frank, what's his name? Baum, that's his name. Frank Baum, the author of Wizard of Oz, was a ninth perspective. And the Wizard of Oz was metaphor for him trying to explain who we are and what we're doing here anyway. You have the answer inside of you all along. All of the weird things that you are that make up who you are, your identity, all of the splits, all of the things that you did as somebody else so that you could later go, wow, I didn't do that. My other alter did that. I didn't do that. This part of me did that. Well, that was just fear talking. No, you did it. You can handle it. And once you realize that you can handle it, you don't need them anymore. Once you accumulate all of your resources and you count all of the things you have overcome, do it. That's your assignment. Count all of your victories. What are your resources? What have you overcome? You don't need the mental illnesses anymore. You don't need the behavioral defenses anymore. You can handle it. That's the toxic belief. Once you realize you can handle it, every mental illness just went away. Overnight. Overnight. I became aligned. I was right where I needed to be. The voices in my head silenced. And then I could just see, oh, I've got identity. I've got intuition. I've got me, the conscious awareness, the core, the ego restored. Oh my God, I've been living inside of my own mind for 32 years. What year is this? It's not 1988. What the hell happened to my phone cord? Yes, I had that conversation. When I tell people that I am not tech savvy, there's a reason why. It's funny now. I just got here, April of 2023. The last time I was out, it was 1988. I'm still learning the tech. It is really fucking hard. Really fucking hard. When the integration happened, the fear system went away. The defense system turned on and supports identity. The subconscious mind is quiet. It sits in the back a lot and hums. It's just processing data as it comes through. Me, I sit here and I communicate with identity and intuition all day long. What do you want to do today? I want to do this. All right, let's go do that. She wants to do podcasts. We're going to do podcasts. I run my business on the whim of identity. As we all should. Write that down. I run my business off the whims of identity. That is going to go on a mug from merchandise. It's going to be different too. It's going to be like, I run my life off of the whims of identity, which should be like code for you have been warned. I live my life off of the whims of identity. She decides what we do today and where we go. And where she wants to go actually tells us how we're going to get there, which is the intuition, the universe saying, okay, yes, now you get this. Or you have a lesson to learn. You'll get it when you've learned the lesson. And I sit there and I do my thing. And still my partner and I scrambled for words for what was happening. It feels like but no words have existed. And now I know why. Because he and I have to invent them. We started inventing them 2 days ago. The night of the blue moon. I did that on purpose. The night of the blue moon. What did I do? I wrote an opera called The Night of the Blue Moon when I was 12. I'm trying to remember what I wrote that night. the whole damn thing written out in musical form, which is over there. I do have it. I thought I thought I lost it. I'm like, oh no, where's my music? I wrote this when I was 12. This is the opera I wrote when I was 12. And I just realized I have all my music. I have all my music. So my music is over there. So I have The Night of the Blue Moon. I thought I lost it in my journals. I lost my letters to Eric. Oh, that breaks my heart. But we started putting it together. And the education and the understanding started to come back together. When you have a twin flame, the story is absolutely all wrong. It is simply when you have two twin flames, it's because their energy sings to each other because they're harmonized. But in most cases, they are not going to be aligned with themselves. So each partner has to separate and align with themselves to do the work. Now, you're going to go through periods of isolation and loneliness. This is triadic healing. This is the process. And you're going to be separated from perspective and misunderstanding. Communication is the way back. Communication is the way back. Communication is the only way back. Because the more you communicate, the more you can identify, the more you define, the more you know, the more you understand. All he and I have been doing for the last year is just communicating via text at a distance. Every day. Just communicating. And the other day, yesterday, I was able to realize, oh, we've been on different perspectives. This is how relationships work. This is what sex is. It's the alignment when you're interdependent with someone. And when you fall in love with subconscious mind conditioned to subconscious mind conditioned. You look at the other person's subconscious mind and you fuse to it because of your own programming. But underneath that, you're actually your own identity, as are they. And you don't know what that is. It's not until 7 years into your marriage that your identity can't handle it anymore and she screams, "Get me out." And that's when you realize that after 7 years of misaligned, it takes 7 years of misaligned perspective, finally, for there to be such a huge gap in perspective that now you don't know who your partner is because you have 7 years of growth without alignment. Communication keeps you aligned with your partner. So when my partner and I fell apart last September, but we didn't, things changed, but it didn't, and it did. And then our perspective started to shift. And with it, the pain was unbearable. And I and he have just been talking, trying to get the perspectives back to match so we have understanding with each other again. And when you say to your partner, "I miss you," you're really saying, "I miss understanding your perspective, and I miss you understanding mine." In May of 2022, when imagination finally emerged and all of this came out, I had this one massive, real pending question. More like a vision. As soon as she came out, we saw the healing garden. And we saw all the things that I would do inside the healing garden. We saw World Peace Manifestation Day. We saw everybody working toward manifestation. I saw my master classes. I saw perspective. I saw how to cure mental illness. Because as we shifted inside of our own minds, while we changed roles and we played around with the different alternate alters, we could see the mind change and shift, but only in one space. The rest of the mind stayed the same except this one spot. And we watched the subconscious mind metaphorically shift out the toxic beliefs with each one of us, just to change our perspective. A belief is what changes the perspective. And there are programmed toxic beliefs that get you each perspective, that gives you each alter, that gives you each mental illness. Just the toxic belief. So if you know how to eliminate toxic beliefs, and I do, down below, get the link, then you can literally just cherry pick whichever toxic belief you want, remove all of them, add healthy ones to get a desired, the exact perspective that you want. And that's what we did. We wrote them all down. We figured them all out. We analyzed them, and then we watched them with other people. And then when our research was done, and we realized that we had exhausted everything we could possibly learn inside the subconscious mind using the four of us, we realized we were causing more problems than good. I realized that they were causing more problems than they were actually doing. That is when I realized the healing had ended. And I said, you guys are messing this up. I can take it from here because I can handle it. In fact, I have handled it all along with my behavioral defenses. And that's what you're doing with your mental illness. You're handling it like a pro. You are mastering the art of surviving that bullshit. And that takes skill. Your mental illness gave you resources. Get this. All the tools you need to cure your mental illness are already inside of you, and you were conditioned and trained how to use your entire life. You have the power within you. Everything you need to overcome your trauma, you were learning when you had the behavioral defense. The behavioral defense is boot camp for your subconscious mind to learn the right tasks and resources so you can cure your mental illness. That's what Triadic Healing does. Link below. Talk to me. It's all of the data that I learned inside of my head in the last 30 years while analyzing the world through 4 different perspectives. So I quit my job a year ago and I built a garden and I manifested my way into living. And I have gotten really damn far. I am living in this gorgeous 3-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn, 10 minutes from the beach, where I've been living rent-free for a year until this month. And I got my piano back, and I'm here with my identity. And I'm still talking to my partner, still trying to locate the misunderstanding between us so we can come back together. And I podcast, and I talk about my journey and triadic healing and how the subconscious mind works. And all of it, everything that I have studied is the same question. Who are we? And why are we here? You are your identity. You are your identity. But your identity has been taken away from you because we live in a system that is terrified of being different. So anything that is not identical is taken away, and that includes your identity. And then your subconscious mind has had to warp your behavior to accommodate the deconstruction of your identity. And that hurts us severely, which is why you're in pain, which is probably why you have an addiction, or you have the other mental illnesses, or you seek out relationships that abuse you. It's because your subconscious mind is terrified to allow you to be different. And the number one offending problem of this is your identity. So your identity is taken away, divided, split, suppressed. Your ego, your conscious awareness, is then wiped clean of memory. And that makes you shut down, oblivious, because your subconscious mind said, I got to keep you safe, and it's not safe to be different. So how do you make a person different? How do you make a person who is different the same? How do you turn an entire community into Borg? Well, you condition the subconscious mind to suppress the identity and wipe the ego. Instant Borg. Instant obedient Borg. So that is what's wrong with you. Now, I don't know if traditional therapy is keeping this information from you on purpose to control you, or if they are that ignorant that they can't see what is so obvious. And I just can't figure that out. Triadic healing is absolutely, completely separate from traditional therapy. It is 100% born of philosophy and physics, where I present psychological manifestation instead of holistic manifestation. I have a plan to get us to World Peace Manifestation Day. I already have it outlined. I saw it a year ago. I know exactly how we're going to do it. And we're going to do it with Triadic healing. If you are interested in any of this, down below, click the link. I have a lot of resources which I can cover with you. I have a lot that I can get you. We have a lot of free facilities. I have my Triadic healing, which is broken up into 3 different parts. You have the revival of the identity, the discipline of the subconscious mind, and the raising of the conscious awareness for the ego. When these 3 things combine, your entire system becomes aligned and balanced, and it shifts. And then I teach you about the perspectives, the stages of growth. You figure out where you are and where your parents are trying to keep you, and then we start walking you through the shadow work as I described to get you there. That's what I do. I love Anna's Elite because I love celebrating nonconformity and the soul and playing around with 9th perspective healing centers and sexuality and how sex really can be used as a healing modem. So that is going to be available only to Anna's Elite. Take a look at Anna's Elite below. Again, just click on that link and just say that you're interested in learning more about Anna's Elite, and then I will get in touch with you. And then one of my favorite things is the Healing Garden Getaway Resorts. I take my shit in a getaway resort where we lock away the patriarchy for a week, a long weekend, 4 or 5 days. And it's all of my healing, it's all of my workshops, it's everything, spa work, all of it, completely embraced around the healing utopia that is. If you are interested in my Healing Getaway Resorts, go ahead and click on the link below and let me know that that's what you're interested in. We are going on a cruise in February, maybe March. I haven't figured that out yet, but we are doing a cruise, a 7-day cruise in the Caribbean, and I will be merging the cruise setting with everything that's Anna. I have a lot of details on that. So if that's something you're interested in, you'll want to also get into Anna's Elite, because only the people on the list for Anna's Elite get these kind of invites. It is absolutely exclusive. I also do live sex parties in New York City that again are healing based, and I also offer a lot. There's a lot of information here. So BDSM workshops that are all, I call it Zen BDSM, where it's very much infusing all of this into that. So if that's something that interests you, again, the link below. So where I am today, my partner is very much part of the garden, and I don't know how yet, but they're fused. So every time my partner and I struggle, the garden struggles. And every time I have a victory with either one of them, the other experiences a victory. And I can't figure out why or how, but the garden and my partner are fused. So this is who I am. This is my story. This is how far I have come. And this is how far much more I will be going. Operation Imagination is my World Peace Manifestation Page project. I do memberships where we all get to sit around, pool that $15,000 together, and we get to discuss what we're going to do with all of that money to help which cause. That is Operation Imagination. And that will be hosted in in June of 2024. During World Peace Manifestation Day. The solstice, the summer solstice, is when I host those. It is a 3-day event in New York City where we all vote on which humanitarian lesson we're going to use. We all manifest on World Peace Day. That's right. If any of this resonates with you, if you want to learn about any of it, talk to me. The link below. Tell me which parts resonated with you, and I'll be able to take the conversation from there and go through whatever it is you need to know. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you.